Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. I'm Mehmet from Memli Coffee Lab, and today we are going to review the Ditting Sweet Lab 807. We've been using this grinder for everything, classes, brewing, espresso, as well as QC and cupping. And it's been a staple for our quality control in our everyday brewing. And I found that it was a great time to actually give you a proper review. You have creators tasting a product for a week or two, maybe a month, but it's on the long run that you see if a product is reliable and consistent. And so far, so good. So let's look into this grinder. I'll put the specs somewhere in the video, but what you have here is a stepless adjustments ranging from 1 to 12. The calibration and the zeroing is pretty intuitive, so it's quite easy, but often 1 being the finest setting, and then 5, 6 aeropress, maybe. It's true that pour-over is on the 7 to actually 8, 8.5, sometimes 9, and then you go to a quite coarser grind size for the immersion methods. Often I like to, start on an 8 for our pour-over and then move on based on the coffee and the amount of coffee and the results I want to have. Here we have a special casing for single dosing that I will open to show you. So in terms of efficiency, it was quite amazing. It can grind coffee faster speed for ground coffee. So we have the classic casing for that. This is more for single dosing. That we use this single doser special casing. And inside I will show the burrs. So we've been using it really extensively. Ditting has a special burr set, 80 millimeter flat burrs. Why did we pick the Ditting Sweet Lab over the super popular EK? Both really do a very great job. There's no much preferences. There's no huge difference in prices. They all require some kind of investment. But I slightly prefer the profile and the distribution, the grind size distribution of the Ditting Sweet Lab, as the fact that on the EK having the burrs vertical, you need to know how to realign your burrs all the time. And so I wanted a more easy setting. All right, let's get our little brush. I'll show you the burrs. So that's our burr set. You can see that they're a little bit different than a regular burr set. This is the classic one. We also have the Ditting one, but I wanted to show you just the classic one for now. And I always use this little tool to kind of push some little fines when you do the cleaning. But basically you have those big flat burr sets that crush those beans and provide a very consistent size. So let's put it back, grind some coffee, and analyze our particles. All right, so reliability, strong, well built. Once again, put the specs out there. It's produced amazing cup of coffee. At least to my personal preferences. If you have a client or customer who wants 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds ground, this can still make it. It has a very powerful motor. Now, how to measure consistency and grind distribution? Historically, we've been using the Groove. This is a tool with some kind of sieve, and what we would do, we will ground an amount of coffee, 10 grams at least. The more precision you have, and then you will shake it between two different sieves. Often something below 300 or 400 microns, and then above 800 microns. That was a classic one. And slowly you will create bracket of a grind size distribution. It was revolutionary back in 2016, 17 when it was released. So we all got one, but you can guess it now, it requires a lot of shaking, a lot of tapping, and sometimes the ground gets stuck in the sieves. It not super convenient and user-friendly. Now, what I'm going to do is to use the new and specialty community tool. This is a blank piece of paper, and what we will do, we will follow the website recommendation. We are going to grind just a little bit of coffee, enough for just one bean, and then sprinkle between the 4 little dots. I'll take a picture and upload it on the website to see the result. So let's start with, I'm gonna do it with all of them and share the result later on. But here I want to show you just with one. All right, let's just flush some beans. So I'm putting on the 8. So this is really intuitive. On. There you go. This one I just discard. And now, well, let's say just a pinch. So let's just use a pinch. I have big fingers, so it's a big pinch. All right. So that should be enough. It's just about, I would say like 2 grams. Yeah, just about 2 grams. When I see the video, all right, it's just about like sprinkling some salt almost. That's it. So actually you don't even need, they say you only need 1 bean. I probably use a little bit more. All right, let's take a picture of this and then upload it. I'll upload it and I'll show you the result. So from this angle, that's what it looks like. I'll just sprinkle some grounds between the 4 marks. All right, I have to do it again because I had some particle that was overlapping. So basically, you need really just a little sample. You don't need much here. And whenever it's overlapping, they don't recognize it as coffee particles. So that's why you need to make sure that it's just a little bit of beans. All right, so let's see what we have here. An average size particle about 1,000 microns. Here, the blue are the coffee particles and the orange are fine. Let me see if that's true from what I have next to me, because there's also some, like this is, I think, a chaff, right? Yeah. And so that's, it's an interesting tool. Is it completely accurate? Not sure, because it is a 2-dimensional aspect of it. You know, if you sprinkle and the grind size, the ground shows the surface as smaller or bigger based on the 3-dimensional shape, right? Okay, so we have a distribution on slightly coarser than for like an 8, right? So it's slightly towards a pour-over, like a delicate pour-over. That's often what I use. Quite a small deviation of only 290 microns. If the average of the variance is low, it's close to the target grinding size. So what low means? Well, it depends, right? But you know, it's about 20%. It's not that low. So this is the grind size, particle for hand drip, but it may be too coarse. It is suitable for French press and cold brew. That is true. I like my brighter brewing method. And so we have another size distribution with a particle, number of particle. And we can see is that there's a peak here towards that 282. And that's why when we do particle size distribution by weight, it's maybe just about 18%, but by number, the fact of having a peak at a finer grind setting or finer grind size for the same setting, it adds the complexity of the brew. Because I agree, right? That 800, that's number 8 that I set here. If we just take into account that coarser particle, it's going to flow really fast and be quite sour. But because we have that dimension here, that actually adds some complexity to this coffee. And yeah, that's about it for the report. So I'm going to do more research on that and come back with some results. All right, that's what we have in a coarse setting for our natural Panama. So only, you see, it's only done in 106 particles. I use less coffee here. We have a size of 1100 with a deviation of 278. So we're quite coarse here. And we have this little dip once again, the number of particles and the distribution percentages. So that gives you a very good idea about so a pretty consistent, grind setting, right? And that's how it can help you understand your grinder. Every grinder is a little bit different. Having it to those numbers doesn't necessarily mean your grinder is too bad or produce too coarse. It just means that, well, you can use it or grind finer, for example. But the idea here is to observe the consistency in having sort of a higher distribution towards one number instead of scattering around different ones. Like previously, that's the Wanda, similar thing. The Guatemala medium, light to medium roast for our espresso, slightly finer particle size, but you see, same sort of distribution percentages is very consistent. All right, so I've been doing lots of different analysis with different grams, different touch, different pinch, and every time it's a different result. So that's also a little caveat about using a tool. It's a really amazing tool in terms of calibration. I think it helps more for the wear and tear of the grinder and your burrs. But if I distribute 1 pinch, 2 pinches, if I grind slightly differently, or if I spread it slightly differently, I always have a different result. Even here, like this picture, which gives me about 1,000 micron, if I just move on the things like that, the grounds, it was going to give me a different result. So that's why it's a very easy and cheap free tool to use. However, it won't give you much information about the quality and the consistency of the grinder. For that, we may need to use a more proper particle size distribution tool. But coming back to the Ditting, it's a wonderful, reliable machine. I think that's something that I'm really happy about, and produce amazing cup of coffee. So we've been having a lot of fun with the Ditting. It's an amazing machine. We are not sponsored by them, but we really sort of appreciate the quality that it produces and the consistency of the ground as we have measured it. Well, the thing is, it's a quite bulky machine, as you can see. It's not aesthetically the most sexier one, but the performance is there. If any question, feel free to let me know. Have you ever used the Ditting Sweet Lab or even different grinders, and let me know what you think. I always put in our recipe, in our brew guide, version between the Ditting, the Comandante, the Baristas, etc., so that you have a point of reference here. Every grinder is a little bit different. Even every grinder from the same manufacturing, from the same model, can be a little bit different because the burr size is a little bit different. Everything is everything is quite precise, and the way we grind is also different. If you do a cold grind, if you grind from the start like this, or if you run it and then grind it, which is what I prefer, you have slightly more consistency, for example. If you use the West drop technique as well. So all those different aspects change also your grind size distribution. And that's why taste different coffees, try a grinder. I think it's really important to try grinders and how they perform the way you brew it with your kind of coffee, and then choose the grinder that you like. And then choose the grinder that you like. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time for another video.